I'm going to be in the book of Jonah. How many of y'all has heard of Jonah? Am I on? Okay. I try not to get excited, y'all, okay? I don't want to wake nobody up this morning. How many of y'all has heard of Jonah this morning? I bet y'all heard about that when you was in first grade, didn't you? What y'all know about Jonah? That rascal was swallowed by a fish, wasn't he? I don't believe we got one that big in the Flint. You know, for a long time, that's about all I really knew about Jonah. He got swallowed by a fish. But this morning, I want to read just a little, and then I'm going to set the stage for y'all, and I'm going to try to tell y'all some things that I have learned this morning. In verse 1, it said, the word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai, go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah ran away from the Lord and headed for Tarshish. Now, ain't that something? He just told him something to do, didn't he? God just came to one of his prophets and he told him, he says, I want you to go to Nineveh and I want you to preach to them. Why did he run away this morning? You know, I really thought much about that, but you know, I've been studying about that. You know why he ran away? Because you know how evil they were? These people were evil. You know what they would do? If they captured you, what they would do, they would mutilate your body. They would cut off your hands and cut out your eyes. They would cut your ears off. And if you wasn't dead yet, they took you and stripped your skin off of you and then beheaded you. They would take your children and they would throw them in the fire. That's how evil they were. Jonah knew all this, and he didn't want to go. He was scared that was going to happen to him. But listen, that's something sometimes we all get scared sometime when God tells us to do something, we can't do it. How many in here, y'all, have ever felt impressed to do something, but you can't do it? You cannot do it, but God can do it through you. And folks, that's what's wrong with the church today. The church needs to wake up. The people in the church need to be godly again and get on their knees and start praying to God and asking for the power that he can give you to be who you need to be in this life. You can't let the struggles of the world beat you down. If you do, you'll never get up. This morning, I want you to know that Jonah ran. I want you to know the first thing he did, he went and bought him a ticket and got on a boat. And he headed 2,500 miles in the other direction. Boy, he was running. You reckon he could get away from God in 2,500 miles? Now, it was closer to Nineveh, 550 miles that way. But he chose to buy him a ticket. And you know what the first thing he did? If you look at your Bible, he said he went to sleep in the bottom of the ship. And then poor old sailors was out there, and then storm come up, and God said, oh, you ain't going nowhere. He says, I got something for you, buddy. So what he did, he sends a great storm. And Jonah's down there asleep in the bottom of the boat. And these boys is out there for all their work, trying to throwing everything overboard, don't want to sink. The ship's going to break up. And finally they go down there, one of them says, hey, why are you sleeping? He said, get up and ask your God if your God is causing this. And they cast lots, and it fell on Jonah. They said, what have you done, man? He said, well, I was supposed to do so and I'm going the wrong way. He said, but this storm will stop if y'all just throw me over. And the guys didn't want to throw him over, but they did. And folks, this morning I want to pick up in verse 17. It says, 16, it says, at this the greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made a vow to him. Verse 17, listen to what God did. He said, now the Lord provided a huge fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days. Now, folks, how would you like to be in the belly of a fish for 3 days? Have you ever cleaned any fish? Do you know what it smelled like in there? Do you know that there was stomach acid in there? Do you know that down in his stomach, there's no telling what was in there, all gooed up and chewed up and smelly, and maybe there was seaweed wrapped around his head and him in there. How could he breathe? But I want you to know God kept him alive. You know what the first thing Jonah did? He done like we do when we get in trouble. He hit his knees. God, get me out of this. If you'll get me out of this, I won't do what I did last night again. Till next Saturday. If you just get me out of this, Lord. Jonah prayed in chapter 2, folks. I want you to know that he prayed, and I want you to know that God brought him to his knees. You know what? God needs to bring us to our knees. Not just when you got problems. But folks, we're living in history, a time of history when the men of God and the women of God need to get serious with him again and quit playing church. We got churches everywhere. They ain't even half full. I want you to know because why? Because the church don't mean nothing anymore. People don't care about church. People don't worry about what's going to happen. Let me tell you something. There's people dying every minute of the day. And there's people going to hell every day. There's people going to heaven every day. But I'm telling you, folks, you better sell out to God and quit selling out to the devil. Because he hates your guts, but he wants you to be with him. That's what he wants this morning. Over there in verse 10, I had a Jonah done prayed and begged and slobbered all over himself and done all this here. God heard him, and you know what he did? In verse 10 it says, and the Lord, listen, he commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto the dry land. Now, folks, I don't know exactly where he vomited him out at, but I want you to know that the Assyrians, they worship a god named Dagon, and he was half fish and half man. So maybe he vomited him out close to where they was at, and they seen this, they would have killed him, in other words. But they said, hey, that's our God, just spit him out the mouth. And they went and told the king. And the king, he says, hey, we better listen to what this guy's got to say. Chapter 3, listen. He got a second chance. How many of y'all in here need a second chance? You have played with God. You have promised him this and you have promised him that, and you have turned away and done exactly what you want to do. Listen, there's nothing in life that's easy. It don't matter if you want to be whatever you want to be, but to be a Christian, it's not easy because people's going to knock you down. You're going to be persecuted. You're going to be hated. You're going to be made fun of. But listen, Jesus said it would be this way, and you need to understand that. But God said, listen, in chapter 3, verse 1, it said, then the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. And he said, I can imagine he said it a little louder. And I imagine he was listening a little better this time. He says, listen, go to that great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I give you. Jonah obeyed the word of the Lord and went to Nineveh. Let me tell you how many people lived in Nineveh. There was over 120,000 people in that place. But I want to tell y'all, we got a gracious and loving God. Even though they were so cruel, even though they were so evil, God still sent them a messenger to get them back on the right track. Folks, I want you to know today that God's sending us messengers all the time, and we need to hear and we need to understand that you are, Mr. Dallas, you're one heartbeat away from leaving this place. And when you open your eyes, where will it be? You can't take no money, and you can't take no cars, and you can't take none of your possessions with you. You can't take a fine house. You can't take nothing with you. But I'm telling you one thing, that when you get there, you're going to wish that you'd listen. You know, sometimes preachers get to preaching and they wonder, am I doing any good? But you know, I don't wonder about that no more. That ain't my job. That's his job. My job is to bring you the message this morning. This morning you may feel like you're not worthy for anything. You may feel like you made a mess of your life. Let me tell you something, that the devil is like that old fish. He may have had you in his stomach. He may have had his arms around you, and he may have pulled you down. Listen, but I want you to know this morning that God can bring you from your past. He can take away addiction. He can take away alcohol. He can take away anything that's causing you to stumble and fall this morning. I think the best thing that ever happened is cell phones would never have been invented. Because we spend more time on that than we do with God. And we might pick up the Bible on Sunday morning and bring it to church. If not, we'll make the excuse that, well, we got our cell phone and we can look it up and look it up. Let me tell you something. I think you need to bring that Bible to church. The only thing I can do with a cell phone is talk on it and answer it. That's all I can do. I can't send you a picture or nothing because I done been tried 3 times and I still can't do it. My wife says, hey, I'll send you a picture and you send me a picture back. I can't do it. I can't do it. But I want you to know what happened. Jonah, he went and he preached. It took him 3 days to go across that big old city. 3 whole days, and that's a big old place, isn't it? He got in. He went in a day's journey, folks, and I want you to know what he did. He preached. He said, listen, if you folks don't repent, I'm telling you what, God's going to destroy this place in 40 days. You know what happened? They listened. Wonder if God come and told you, if you don't repent, I'm going to take your life in just a few days. Or I'm going to take you away from here before long. I want you to know this morning, it ain't about the fish. It's about what come out the fish. What's holding you back this morning? What's holding you back this morning? Is it your past? Is there something now got a chain on you that you just can't go nowhere? You know what's so sad, that I've done this many, many years along the way, that I used to come to church and sit on the back row too. Never sit on that front row. Never sit in between unless somebody got my seat on the back. And I sit there and I listen to preachers after preacher after preacher. And I got up and left my fingerprints in the back of them pews, and I left. Are you living right this morning? Are you walking with God? My job is to tell you and ask you that, and that's between you and Him. Young folks, if you're young in here, I'm going to tell you what, one day you'll reach a point where you'll look back and say, oh, God, if I could just change that. You can change all that today. Let's change it all today. Let's get on the straight and narrow today. Listen, you can't live like hell during the week and come to Sunday on Sunday morning and think everything's going to be all right. You say, well, he ought not to say that word hell. Let me tell you, Jesus talked more about hell than he did heaven. And I want you to know that's a terrible place, and I don't want my worst enemy to go there. I think it's time that preachers start preaching about hell. I think they need to tell them how hot hell is. And we need to scare folks, because I'm telling you what, you might be walking the little thin line, and you may say, hey, well, I do this and I do it. Listen, he says, if you're sitting on the fence, I don't want you. I want you one way or the other. It says in Revelation, he says, I'd rather you be hot or cold. I don't want no lukewarm person. Listen, can you imagine what would happen to God's church if the people got hot for Him? You wouldn't have to worry about all these empty seats. Hey, I've seen them a lot emptier than this. I guarantee you that. A lot emptier than this. And I can believe they'd fill up. You know what Jonah did? He done all that, and he over there in chapter 4. You know what he goes? He goes out there and builds him a little old fruit stand, I call it. He builds him a little old shelter. He set it up. You know what he did? Kind of on the hillside. You know what he did? He said, I can't wait to see what God's going to do to these folks. He said he's finna tear them up. You know what happened? They repented. They even had the cows and all, the animals. They put sackcloth and ashes on them. They wouldn't let them eat, wouldn't let them drink. The people wouldn't eat. Can you imagine y'all not going to get nothing for supper, dinner today? Can you imagine saying, well, I ain't going to eat today. I'm going to mourn today, and I'm going to try to get myself back with God. The whole 120,000 people, the king made them get in sackcloth and ashes, and they repented, and God looked down from heaven, and He forgave them. Poor old Jonah sat over on the hill. He was waiting for lightning to strike, but you know what happened? He got mad at God. Got mad at God because God didn't destroy him and tear him up. God said, why are you mad with me? If you read on a little bit, and it says he let a plant grow up over his little shed. Kind of keep the sun off of him. But doggone, the next morning, a worm come there and ate the thing and killed it. Jonah just couldn't win for losing. God said to Jonah, and verse 9 in chapter 4 says, is it right for you to be angry about the plant? He said, it is. He said, I am so angry, I wish I was dead. Can you imagine? He told God, I'm so mad at you for not killing these folks. I wish I was dead. But the Lord said, you have been concerned about this plant, though you did not tend it or make it grow. It sprang up overnight, and it died overnight. And should I not have concern for the great city of Nineveh, in which there are more than 120,000 people who cannot tell their right hand from their left, and also many animals? Listen, you know that we live in a world today that people don't know the right hand from the left. You say you crazy. No, you know what? I've seen them ask college students who was the first president of the United States. Now, I've been out of school for over 50 years. But all you got to do is look at the dollar bill, I think. I think he's still on the dollar bill. I don't see too many of them. But I think it was George Washington, wasn't it? You know, they have said Bill Clinton, and I mean, they're crazy. The young folks that go to college, just walking around all preppy and this, that, and the other. Listen, instead of learning what they should learn, they're being brainwashed. All this money that these people are sending their kids to school are being brainwashed to hate God, to hate America, to hate being who they are. Listen, I'm proud of who I am. I'm like Merle Haggard. I'm proud of who I am. I want you to know this morning that I am proud that I was born and raised on the west side of town. And I want you to know the only thing over there of any interest is Betty's Lunchbox, and we got a dollar store now, and we got the John Deere place over there. The rest of us don't matter over there too much, but I'm telling you what, I remember as a kid that every church in West Bainbridge was full. The Methodist church was full. The Baptist church was full. Look, the little West Bainbridge Baptist church, Assembly Baptist church, whatever you call it, West Side Baptist church, it was full. Kids everywhere. If you go to most churches now, all you see is older people. And when the older people die out, where's the young folks at today? It's more fun to be at the beach today, ain't it? It's more fun to be on the river today, doing whatever you want to do. You know, God give you 6 other days, and you can't give him 2 hours a day. What do I want you to see out of this? I want you to see that there's something holding you back today. If there's some fish that's got his jaws on you and won't let you go, today you can be set free.